fun, creative, and expressive of your own personality. At Grady Gear Company, we believe that clothing is more than just fabric and threads. It's a form of self-expression and a way to stand out from the crowd. Grady Gear is more than just a clothing brand. We're a community. We're here to inspire and motivate you to embrace your true self. We are a locally owned small business who do custom clothing orders too. Find us at GradyGearCompany.com. Are you one of thousands of individuals who know you have psychic abilities but don't know how to tap into your higher self? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who offers classes that can help you reach your goals. Refined Divine holds classes Monday and Thursday at her 2 locations and via Zoom. Classes consist of manifestation, learning psychic abilities, shadow work, and healing trauma. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
This is Psychic Medium Deb. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for showers and storms tonight with a low around 69. Thursday, more rain with a high near 81. And Friday, sunny with a high around 89. The Great Wall Restaurant is your destination for Szechuan and Mandarin delights. Enjoy hot and sour soup, pan-fried dumplings, sesame chicken, Peking duck, mushu, pork beef, and broccoli and fish fillet and ginger sauce. Located near 50th and France, check out GreatWallyDina.com for their extensive menu. The Great Wall Restaurant.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story. This is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining us on this stormy Wednesday evening, at least storming here in the Twin Cities. Some bands are coming through. If anything severe comes up, which I doubt it will, we'll definitely let everybody know about that. We're going to get through things here pretty quickly, but I do want to say hello to Adam out in Eden Prairie, taking care of things at the station tonight. How are you tonight, Adam?
Doing well tonight, staying dry currently, because, well, it was a little tricky to stay dry earlier this evening.
Well, and you're in that building. I mean,
which is also why I'm shocked I'm still dry.
It's still dry with around all that electronic equipment. You're not shocked. You're not electrocuted as of yet.
Not yet. Give it time.
Give it time.
This is going to be an electrifying show.
You're not surrounded by snakes, spiders. Yet.
Yes. Yeah. I can hear him knocking. Percy's up here at the window knocking. Yes, a snake can knock.
Absolutely.
Don't ask me how, but he can.
If they're going to work for AM 950, they're going to be talented. So that's always
be multifaceted.
Absolutely. So this interview tonight has been a year or so in the making, at least. Our guest tonight is a very busy person, really focused, and it's been very exciting over the last 2 years to see what has been going on with Brandon Alvis when it comes to the creation of the television show Haunted Discoveries that's currently running on Haunt TV in America. You can get that through Sling TV. You probably have seen Brandon previously on A&E's Ghost Hunters, and there's just been so much fun. And me being a connoisseur of all things paranormal, I've been watching very closely over the past couple years of this journey, and it's been a lot of fun to see. It's good to see when people are working hard that they're rewarded with success. And there's really not much more I could say about that. I just want to bring on our guest tonight. Brandon, welcome to GhostBox Radio.
Greg, thanks for having me on, man. This is awesome.
This is awesome. And my goodness, like I said, this has been a while in the making. We've been talking for a while, but you have been extraordinarily focused, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been quite the ride. I started APRA in 2006 and been investigating the paranormal for quite some time, and was lucky enough to work in TV for many years. And both of those passions have come together to do Haunted Discovery. So it's been a lot of fun.
Now, one of the things I'm really hoping to do here, because in the chat on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun Facebook page, we have a lot of people that I'm very familiar with, you are very familiar with, and I appreciate that support that people come to listen to what you have to say. But, we have a radio audience that I am not 100% sure everybody knows about this fantastic TV series, which was one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on, because we have such a diverse listenership of people who love paranormal television, who may not be completely aware of everything. Could you tell our listeners what Haunted Discoveries is, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Haunted Discoveries is a show about mine and APRA's basically exploration, trying to find a research center. And we came to Kentucky to specifically look into the Kentucky anomaly and all of the unique geographical and high strangeness and rich history that's here. And the ultimate goal in all this is to try and find a home for a research center to do long form experiments and to try and really find out what the paranormal really is, specifically ghosts and hauntings.
And then when you're doing that, you're going to these locations, you're giving us the backstory of these locations, and you're also you're also doing an investigation there as well. One of the things that I'm noticing right away is that your approach to investigation seemed to be a little bit different than what we see on television. Once again, that's not a disparagement of who's out there already, but there is something different about that. I know for a fact, because I remember when you were talking about the series, that was something that was very important to folks like you and Mustafa.
Absolutely. First and foremost, we want to try and step outside of the box and, really step outside of the shadow of pseudoscience as much as possible. And we've been very lucky to work with people like Dr. Harry Clore, who was the first person in history to receive 2 PhDs simultaneously. And we're all about collecting factual data and really trying to find out what the mechanics are behind what people perceive to be ghosts and hauntings. So it's not really about, the thrill per se, not really about our own personal experience. It's more about trying to find credible data to support what many witnessers have experienced over the years.
What I've been watching has been there's been a casual approach, but then when it shouldn't be casual, it's not. I mean, it feels like that your team is really doing a good job of being able to know when to be lighthearted, even within an investigation setting, but also know that there's a point that there's no room for that at the moment.
Yeah, and there's a time and place for everything, right? And
Yep.
there's certain situations, especially with some of the history that we encounter, that it could be highly sensitive. And there was tragic deaths associated with places or war, and people have lost loved ones, things like that. So, taking into consideration the history of a location and also the people that are operating in these places, the witnessers as well. So there's a time and place for seriousness, and there's a time and place for levity. So we try and walk the line. We try and do the right thing in the right moment. And sometimes you can be in a situation where laughter creates activity, so you never know what's going to happen.
And would you mind talking about who's on your team? I meant to bring that up because you do have a very strong group of people who are your core people that are on camera with you, and that they're really making sure that the show is moving forward.
Yeah, and these are friends of mine first and foremost. Mustafa Gadalari, a lot of people know him from Annie's Ghost Hunters. Him and I worked together on there. Also Kevin Audi, who's someone I've known for 15 years, who is a fantastic researcher. Him and I met in California many years ago and investigated at various haunted hotspots out there. And then also Malia Molino, who's a friend of mine, one of the best historical researchers I've ever worked with. And she's someone that is really well versed in historical research and really telling some of these forgotten stories. So it's really been awesome to work with personal friends of mine, people I've known for many years, and to be able to come together and work on this project has been a dream come true.
And they are very good. All of them are very good. And I was very taken with Kevin when he was when I was watching him and he was bringing up all like the device that the screen that all the different temperatures that you can really get a landscape of temperatures throughout a location. And I thought, God, that's really cool because I think that have you been able to use that in a way to be like maybe pinpoint when activity is happening in other areas of like a house, for example?
Oh, absolutely. And what's great about that specific device, Kevin actually reached out to the National Weather Service and spoke to them about environmental data and utilizing some of the tools they actually use out in the field. You talked about weather earlier. We've had some crazy weather events here in Kentucky as well, but stuff they actually use to determine weather events and document the field. And so we adapted these devices that were given to us by the National Weather Service that gives us a whole variety of environmental conditions and trying to understand what is taking place in these said haunted locations. So that's just adding further to the data set and really trying to understand what the possible elements of a haunting truly are.
Absolutely. One of the things too, and we talked about this a little bit prior to going on the air, was I love where you're focusing the show. And I understand why you're focusing the show because you're looking for a research center. But, a lot of shows, and once again, I got to be very careful. I'm not disparaging anybody. Because I know people want to see different locations around the country. But what you're doing is you're finding you're focusing on an area that I don't think gets a lot of love when we're talking about this sort of paranormal, these moments. And with places like Octagon Hall, that's a little bit more known. It's a great location, but so many of these other places and the history are so vivid that even though I don't live in that area, I'm really happy that with that focus, you're giving us a really good picture of an area of land that a lot of people may not know at all.
Yeah, a lot of the places that we actually feature on the show, many of which is like the first time they've ever been investigated by paranormal investigators. And, specifically with Kentucky, there's so much rich history here that people just simply don't know about. Going back to, it being part of Virginia for many years and how when Kentucky became a state and the state constitution is supposedly written by Thomas Jefferson. So there's so much history here and so much people don't realize, but also there's a very unique anomaly that's happening here in Kentucky and actually extends into Tennessee as well. It's referred to as the Kentucky anomaly. Yeah. That's a NASA verified geomagnetic and gravitational anomaly that is affecting this area. And we believe that effect plays into what we believe to be haunting. So that's just another layer to the research we're doing out here. And it's a very special place, not only historically, but also with high strangeness, I should say, for sure.
Absolutely. And, as Ernie says, and I'm sure Denise helped them write this, they use unconventional equipment. It's very scientific approach. It's fascinating to see how it all ties in. And, I think there's, is when you started with APRA back in 2006, is that the direction that you've always gone with, like a much more of a scientific approach instead of maybe say like a metaphysical or psychic approach or energy approach?
Oh, absolutely. That was always the mission statement of APRA and still is to this day, is scientific documentation and research. And again, when you use a terminology like science within a field like the paranormal, it could be laughed at sometimes. But luckily, with APRA, we've been very fortunate to work with a lot of professionals from various technical industries that have been a tremendous help and mentored us through this process and really utilizing equipment from other technical industries and understanding how to use that equipment and understanding documentation and understanding data. So it's been really great.
And I can't remember which guest I had on. It was just this week who was talking about not all shows, not all programs on YouTube are like this, but there's a lot of like investigation videos that are on YouTube, and that the way that they're presenting the paranormal, our field, is that what he said, he believes that the way they're presenting it, the way that that they don't want to have it be questioned, how they're presenting it is really making the argument that will keep what we're doing as a pseudoscience, because we are becoming more and more, as if I can push us all together, even though we shouldn't be. We're really coming across more as a group of people who are doing like the fantastical, opposed to using any sort of scientific methods to it. Do you think that's true? Do you think that there's some truth to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, there's a lot of popular styles of investigating that's mimicked widely, and that is not beneficial to advancement of research. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do it, because in reality, we don't really know what we're dealing with. But if we do want to step out of the shadow of pseudoscience, we do have to open ourselves up to scientific scrutiny. We have to open up our minds. And just like someone that would claim to be a skeptic in reality would be a non-believer a lot of the time, is the same as someone that's a believer that just will wholeheartedly believe anything that happens. And then you walk into a place and everything's a ghost. And so there's a fine line that needs to be walked, and just an understanding and openness to know that we don't know everything, but we can learn from others, and we can learn from people from various technical industries that may come off a bit harsh at times, but they're not trying to downplay what we're doing or what we're experiencing. They just want us to do it the right way.
Absolutely. And, there is something too to be said, even if we don't want to completely take a scientific approach to it, that regardless of how we do it scientifically, or just like that we believe that it's just, we're just watching energy and we're just using our feelings or whatever to get to it, that we should always be open to the fact that what we're seeing is open to interpretation, that it's not 100% one way or the other. Because if we don't do that, then how on earth are we able to, move forward at all?
Exactly. I mean, we have to be willing to learn, and we have to be willing to understand that there's other belief systems, and that sometimes an outside opinion like that can take us a step further. And I think that's very important, especially when working with people from, the academic fields, or scientists, engineers, medical doctors, people like that, that would be more willing to step foot into this field if it wasn't so spoopy. I think is the word I would use.
Right. No, absolutely. Some folks in the comments, once again, they're asking where can we find your shows? I don't get the channel. I said some stuff at the beginning, but I don't know if I gave the entire picture of how people can see Haunted Discoveries, Brandon.
Yeah, you can see it on Haunt TV, and that's available on Vizio, LG channels, Roku, Tubi, Sling, and it's all 100% free. You do not have to sign up. No credit card required, nothing like that. You could also see various episodes on our official website too at haunteddiscoveries.com. So we release them there as they come out, and they're available, but you can watch it live on Haunt TV every Saturday. And again, 100% free, no sign up required.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. And also, I forgot to put in, if you have a question for Brandon, you can put it into the comments. You can also call in 952-946-6205. The number is 952-946-6205. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about some of the episodes that I've seen, talk about some of the stuff that's going on. Also, whatever questions you have as well, we definitely want to get through. I'm so happy to have Brandon here with us. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950.
If you own a holistic or metaphysical business and are looking to expand, then you need to be listed on metamorphosisconnections.com. It's a network where you can grow with like-minded practitioners and reach new clients. Metamorphosisconnections.com is an online directory you need to list yourself and your business. Our platform makes it easy for you to create listings of your products and services, and you can also choose to list your classes, events, and so much more. Metamorphosisconnections.com helps you create weekly and monthly promotional ads targeted towards your potential clients and promotes them for you via social media and newsletter. There are clients searching for your specialty right now. Let us help them find you. Start your listing today so you can share your own unique gifts and talents by finding the level of membership that best fits your needs. Let us help you reach your clients that are searching for what you do. Visit metamorphosisconnections.com and sign up today.
We know you value buying local, especially when it comes to your magical supplies. So if you're looking for grimoires, decks, jewelry, candles, or herbs that are locally sourced, then come on down to Magus Books and Herbs. Curated for your ritual, ceremonial, spiritual, and spellwork needs, we've got all the tools to make your working extra. So make that prosperity ritual one that keeps on giving by visiting us at 1848 Central Avenue Northeast in Minneapolis, or visit us online at magusbooks.com.
Greg Bakun here. I love historic tours of Minneapolis and seeing everything it has to offer. But if you know me, I like to include a little spooky in my tours, which is why I found the perfect combination. Minneapolis Trolley Tours does this amazing candlelight ghost tour that you have to check out. It's an extremely immersive experience. It's a trolley trip that starts out at a haunted mansion, traveling around Minneapolis locations, exposing ghost stories that the public and business owners would rather left untold. Then a tour of the aforementioned haunted mansion where ghosts of past residents from the 1800s reside, plus a lot of surprises to discover. Next, experience Gertrude's After Hours. Did I mention Gertrude is the mansion's most famous ghost? Maybe she'll show up. And you finish up the tour at Gertrude's Lounge in the haunted basement of the mansion with refreshments and Q&A. The trolleys are climate controlled and the mansion is restored to perfection. Check out MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for more information. And welcome back to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining us on this Wednesday evening. I am very excited. We have with us tonight paranormal investigator, filmmaker, television showrunner, author. I mean, it's easier to say, Brandon, what you don't do. It might be a shorter list. I don't know. We've got Brandon Alvis with us. We're talking about Haunted Discoveries, which is on Haunt TV. As Brandon just said, really, you can find Haunt TV just about anywhere. I have Roku. Just look for it, add it on. There you go. No need to pay for it. Lots of good stuff. We got a lot of questions, and I always say that we go with the questions more than what I have to say, because I'm excited when people are excited. And don't forget, folks, if you want to call in, 952-946-6205, 946-6205. Though, Brandon, there is one thing I wanted to kind of say before we got to it. I'm trying to find Joshua's comment here, but be mindful of those who like to do more experimentation. And Joshua, I'm not quite sure if that was something that maybe I said that led things along a different way. I've just, last segment, we talked a little bit about the scientific approach, the idea of some of the pseudoscience, some of the fantastical experimentation in paranormal investigating. And this is me speaking. I'm not speaking for Brandon, that you know it when you see it. There's things that people are doing, which is super cool, super valid. It's really cool to see what happens. There are some that is just made more for a spectacle, more to get views, more to get people to like what you're doing than actually trying to further the paranormal field. That's at least what I'm talking about. And I don't know. I don't know if you got if I said something wrong or whatever, but I just wanted to be clear on that. I don't know, Brandon. That's what I say.
No, for sure. I mean, science is all about experimentation too. So, I mean, experimentation's something we do and something that everyone should, take part in this field. But again, when you go in with a bias and you're 100% all in belief, the experimentation is going to be tough, because no matter what you do, there's always going to be the outcome you're looking for. So I think it's just being more mindful and being open to all possibilities within an investigation, for sure.
Totally. I did want to say real fast before we get to questions, Octagon Hall. And we can talk more about this after we get through some questions, but in case we get too carried away, I really wanted to talk about, in the episode, there's a lot of activity that's happening outside in the field and stuff. And you're over by the barn. So you would have been on the other side of like the gazebo, right? Or something around that area.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of dogs that are out on the outside the perimeter of the fence. At least there were when we were there. And I was out there with my friend Char Savoy, which I think she comments on your page and stuff, and our friend Danae. And Danae has a good, decent FLIR, heat signature. And we're on the other side of the gazebo, and we are looking towards the cemetery, which is, I don't know, what would you say? That's like 60, 70 yards away, something like that?
Yeah, I'd say so. That's a pretty accurate.
So we're there and we see a dog with the heat signature of a dog walking. And we thought, well, it's one of those dogs. All of a sudden, it gets up on its hinds and turns into a man and keeps walking.
Wow.
And we were all, well, we were saying stuff that probably is not best to say on this radio show, but it was 3 of us. Now, we did not record it. We were just playing around with it. We were just like, what's this do? You know? And we got that. But there were 3 of us that saw it, looking through it. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
I mean, there's all kinds of crazy reports out there, as you well know, Greg. You've been there, but you hear everything from UFO type activity to shapeshifters. That's literally one of the reports out there.
That's, when you said that in the episode, I'm just like, oh my gosh, totally.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure I got that out tonight.
Oh yeah, no, it's a strange place. I mean, there's a lot of indigenous history there prior to the Civil War history. So there were mounds on the property at one point too. So I mean, who knows what's happening out there at Octagon Hall? But you know, during our time there, we had some amazing things happen on the MCCD camera, as well as Kevin out in the cemetery getting, I mean, these crazy EMF hits up to like 50 milligauss in a place with 0 power. So I mean, it's a wild place, man. I'm glad you had an experience like that. That's really cool.
It is really cool. Let's do some questions. Some folks took the time and they're watching, and let's get some questions going here. Damien says, "Is there an investigation that you, or sorry, no, he said, is there an investigator that you'd like to work with but haven't yet?"
Oh man, you know, I've been lucky to meet a lot of the people I've admired over the years. You know, if I could go, you know, one person I wish I could work with is Dr. Raymond Moody. You know, he coined the term in, you know, near-death experience and all that. And he's done some amazing research in a psychomantium chamber and all that kind of stuff. So I, you know, I'd say probably Dr. Raymond Moody, but I've been lucky. I've met John Zaffis. I worked with Grant Wilson. I've been on Ghost Adventures. I met Zach a few times. So you know, I've been lucky.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's really cool. Ernie, you know, once again, a lot of big words here for Ernie, so I'm not 100% sure he actually wrote this. Many of us in the paranormal community believe that there's a connection between spirit activity, cryptids, and even UFO activity. Has anything in your research led you to agree with this idea?
I'll tell you, you know, since I've gotten to Kentucky and since I've been conducting the research here with, you know, with Haunted Discoveries, I can't even pretend I know anything anymore. Some of the things I've encountered is just so wild and so crazy that I think that there is some connection between everything in some way. I don't know how that works or how it's connected, but there's something larger going on than I ever thought I would know or understand. So I can't even pretend to know anymore after being here.
No, and I won't bore you with our Bigfoot story from Duffield because I've told it so many times on this show, and but there's a lot of stuff there in that area that has blown myself and my friends who have gone out there away. Leanne, hi Leanne, it's good to see you on here. Since starting his Haunted Discoveries, has there been anything paranormal make you rethink what you initially thought was causing the haunting?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, specifically, we did this really cool experiment with Kyle Cadell and Darian West, who are with the International Paranormal Research Museum in Somerset, Kentucky. And we conducted this experiment testing thought form manifestation and testing how a person's belief affects the environment. And we used entropy and data science, and we paired that with our research of environmental conditions and photon events with the EMCCD. And we were able to actually record and correlate with entropy, which is data science that predicts events, right? So it's science that's trying to predict that when something's going to happen. And we were able to go into a place that's said to be haunted, send in an investigator, have them imagine what they would want to happen. And we actually not only documented changes in the entropy, but we actually documented real life environmental changes in the atmosphere, and also photon events. So again, like I said, I don't even know what to think anymore. My thought process has completely changed, and we've collected some amazing data that just really has made me reevaluate what I think I know for sure.
It is, and folks in the comments are just like, I love that experiment, so eye-opening. That's what it's all about, and it truly is. And that's the thing too, is it's nice to see how you can take something and like paranormal investigating. How can you kind of not skew it, but turn it a little bit so it's perfect, so that perfect in the sense that you can do whatever you want with it, that you can go wherever you want with it, and that that you're doing something different and trying to move the field forward, because at the end of the day, that's really kind of what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing we've noticed, at least with our research, the past 5 years doing this, is that we're seeing a huge correlation between these said haunted locations and massive changes in barometric pressure and photon events happening in these places. So that's one consistent and one data set that we've seen over and over and over. What that means, we're not quite sure yet, but the more data we collect, the more we'll understand. And just collecting hard data and actually feeding into a data set that we now go cross-reference between locations and say, hey, look, these were the exact conditions when we collected this EVP or we collected this image, and we're starting to see that there's definitely a pattern.
And is there a pattern just in general with the locations that you've investigated with in the Kentucky area, that more of a pattern of certain types of spirit communication, different types of communication that are similar across these locations, or does each one truly very unique?
They're all unique in their own way, but I will say, one big thing for us is that, trying to connect history with science, right? Especially with what we're doing in the paranormal space, and specifically ghosts and hauntings, is that we believe that the history is the main factor. It's the root of all these things that we believe to be ghostly. So one thing we have noticed is that there is a deep familial connection that seems to be the heart of many hauntings and seems to be the root of it all. And the cause of a lot of these, these haunted locations is that the familial ties. And not only does that go back to the people that lived and died in these places, but we've tested that theory by bringing descendants into these locations and testing how that changes the environment. So that's one thing we've noticed, is the deep familial ties. It has something to do with it. We're not quite sure what.
Yeah, no, I mean that, and that's really interesting to kind of see if there's any kind of correlation with the different types of messaging that you're getting back. There was a question here I wanted to get to. Here it is. Damien says, wondering if a heightened body state increase or decrease how we perceive hauntings.
Yeah, one thing I tested, Malia, who, she's not a paranormal investigator, you know what I mean? She's a historical researcher, she's a history nerd, and we brought her onto the show to specifically do research and interview people, but we decided to throw her in the fire and send her into investigations because we knew that she was so apprehensive and so afraid of the possibility of ghosts existing that we wanted to test how that would affect the environment. So we actually did multiple tests where we would put her in situations and scenarios where her heightened anxiety and fears of a location, we wanted to see if that would change anything. And lo and behold, we collected some data associated with that.
And I remember distinctly, I think, and I'm sure you've done in other episodes, but like episode 1 of the second season, you sent her up upstairs, and it was really interesting to see, because in my opinion, from what I was watching, it's not in your it's not maybe in your wheelhouse to maybe push someone to do something that they don't want to do. You're being very delicate about it, you're being very careful. She's trying, but she's having a really hard time with it. It was a really interesting dynamic between the two, or actually the three of you, because Mustafa was part of that too. about how how to get her to do what you need to do, but also know that make sure that she knew that she was safe, and also that you didn't want to harm her anyway. You wanted her to know that you're not going to harm her anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was crazy, going back, the later date and editing that episode, and I could hear her heartbeat through the lav mic. I mean, it was just one of the, you could sit there and she could express that she's afraid of the situation all she wants, but until I really heard her heartbeat through the lav mic, I really understood she was not kidding. She was telling the truth about being, scared to go up there. And again, we don't want to push anyone to do anything they don't want to do, but at the same time, we want to try and collect data. But again, like we talked about earlier, there's always a fine line, and we want to make sure we're respecting not only the people we work with, the location owners, but as well as the possible entities that are in these locations. I also
want to say, before we hit our next break here, that going through the episodes, especially what I've seen in the second season, it's a very interesting, you have the paranormal side to it, but you also have the side of people's lives, and the lives of people who are descendants of folks who were directly involved with, you call it the Civil War, you call it the war between the states. You're getting a lot of that sort of, like, you can see that scars still run very deep. And that they're the scars of not only the descendants of what happened, how people were treated, but also what happens to, just towns such as Perryville. That there is something, I think that, even though this is maybe not totally what Haunted Discoveries is about, that this is a good part of it that shouldn't be ignored. And I'm so happy that this is part of it, because we all need to remember, so many of us are so removed because we weren't even obviously alive during that conflict, that to understand what happened in this country during that time, that I don't know if you had really expected that when you were putting this program together.
It was something that definitely crossed our minds when we were, trying to do this show, is that we wanted to humanize it as much as possible. And I think that that's one big thing with paranormal television and in the paranormal genre in general these days, is it's not human anymore. The humanity has been lost in all this, and history and these possible entities and these people that came before us have been kind of used as a prop in a lot of ways. And it's been unfortunate. So to go to these communities and learn this history and talk to people that are deeply affected by it, that it's still resonating into 2024, is eye-opening. And people being haunted, they could be haunted in more ways than one. It doesn't have to be just strictly paranormal. It could be ties to their family and ties to their history. So that was the big thing for us, is humanizing the genre. That's a big thing.
It is, and it's something that it really, to me, and just reading the comments here, because there's a lot of folks who are saying the same sort of thing. It really stuck out to a lot of us, and I think that is very obviously very important. Let's go ahead. Let's take our next break. When we come back, folks, keep putting your comments and questions into the comments section. Also, feel free to give us a call, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We have more Brandon Alvis with Haunted Discoveries coming up here on GhostBox Radio. Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
We know you value buying local, especially when it comes to your magical supplies. So if you're looking for grimoires, decks, jewelry, candles, or herbs that are locally sourced, then come on down to Magus Books and Herbs. Curated for your ritual, ceremonial, spiritual, and spell work needs, we've got all the tools to make your working extra. So make that prosperity ritual one that keeps on giving by visiting us at 1848 Central Avenue Northeast in Minneapolis, or visit us online at magusbooks.com.
Gritty Gear Company is a great place to go for clothing that is fun and expressive. But did you know we also do custom orders on demand? We've worked with all types of companies and organizations, from first responders to even a certain radio station. Our team is here to help you look amazing. Our clothing is of the highest quality, and you will love your logo on the finished product. We are a locally owned small business who simply wants you to look great. Find out more at grittygearcompany.com.
Reach your highest level of consciousness and well-being with metamorphosisconnections.com. Metamorphosisconnections.com is an online directory of the best holistic and metaphysical practitioners to help you make your most informed choices. You can search metamorphosisconnections.com for classes, events, wellness and life coaches, plus metaphysical products and shops. You can also search for a wide array of healers from all modalities, including EFT, sound healing, energy healing, light therapy, ancestral healing, shamanic healing, reflexology, past life regressions, hypnotherapy, yoga, and more. And if you're not sure where to start, the search feature on metamorphosisconnections.com is tailored to help both those who know what they are looking for and those who are just starting. Come explore the possibilities for your higher self by visiting metamorphosisconnections.com. Their experienced practitioners can guide both beginners and those that are already on their spiritual journey. That's metamorphosisconnection.com, your link to direct you on your spiritual transformation.
And don't forget, tomorrow's Thursday, which means Myth or Mystery on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun Facebook page. It's our paranormal panel program where we show clips, and we want to know what our panel thinks, if it's paranormal or not, and if not, how do they break it down? And also, it's also for our audience to vote as well. It's a lot of fun. It's not a very serious show, but we love to talk about it. And this is what it looks like for tomorrow. Here's our promo for it.
Our next video was captured at Norwich State Hospital in Connecticut by Paranormal Theory, a paranormal group based in New Jersey.
Murder, somehow.
Touch me?
No.
Oh my God, my shirt just got
I thought I saw it.
Lead investigator Ryan has his shirt pulled while in the lobotomy room. Norwich State was a psychiatric hospital that operated from 1904 to 1996. It housed geriatric, chemically dependent, and tubercular patients, and at its peak had 30 buildings on 900 acres on the banks of the Thames River. Most of the buildings are demolished now, and the area is said to be extremely haunted. Visitors report cold chills, seeing apparitions, mists, and catching EVPs. The location has appeared on episodes of Ghost Hunters and Destination Fear. Join us on Myth or Mystery as we investigate this video and others. Thursday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
And of course, after Myth or Mystery on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun, we're doing a replay of our conversation with author Susan B. Martinez. We're going to be talking about her book, Field Guide to the Spirit World, The Science of Angel Power, Discarnate Entities, and Demonic Possession. And that's one of the rare occasions where I nearly lose my patience with somebody. So that's a lot of fun just to listen to that as well. We have with us tonight Brandon Alvis. He is the showrunner to Haunted Discoveries. We are now 2 seasons into Haunted Discoveries. Is there a third one planned? Or are we not allowed to talk about anything like that yet? Or what's going on?
It's coming soon. I can say that. I don't have exact. I haven't been given the green light to say exactly when, but I could say it's very soon. Very soon.
There's a lot of people who have been saying, just where's one in particular that I really love. How what you were talking about in the last segment really was quite good. We have so many comments tonight. It's a lot of fun. I'll just paraphrase because I can't seem to find it. And let's stop the show so I can find one comment. What you're doing with the way that you're talking about the stories and stuff, it personalizes of the series, and it personalizes those moments. And I thought that was really important. I thought that was really good. So I just wanted to say that I thought that was a great comment, and I agree 100%. I agree. Now, what I find also very interesting, because I come from also a background of production as well. I find it interesting because the whole dynamic of how you get stuff on the air is changing very rapidly, and a lot of people who've been doing these shows for a while, they're finding that out the hard way, quite frankly. You though, you did it completely different. You didn't have a network commission you as a production company. You went away and did it. You actually went and do you make two full seasons before you sold it? How did that work?
Yeah, so myself and Mustafa with A&G Creative, that's our company. We partnered with Kevin Oddie and the company he works with, Stargazer Television, and we partnered together and we shot 20 episodes of a show called Haunted Discoveries, and we went out and were lucky enough to get it on air. So we shot 8 to start with, edited those together, then we went out and did 12 more, and then we partnered with Blue Ant Media, who is the operator and owner of T&E in Canada and also Haunt TV here in the United States, also in New Zealand, Australia, Ireland, UK, and it's been great so far, man. So it's been a unique path, definitely different than the model that's been in place for quite some time, but it's been unique and it's been a lot of fun and very creative. So it's been challenging but creative.
That would be creative. And I mean, was it hard doing all that, making these programs with not like there's a lot of uncertainty over it now, not really any uncertainty at all. There's uncertainty over that. How did that work? Because I'm a worrywart, so I'm gonna be like the whole time, like, like, oh my gosh, are we ever gonna get this going? How was that with that kind of hanging over you for a little bit?
Yeah, sometimes you got to bet on yourself. You know what I mean? And just know that if you're capable of doing something and if you put your mind to it, you can make it happen, right? And especially, after, the wave of paranormal television came through and then certain mergers happened with networks and things changed rapidly. And the model of how things were happening over at Travel and other networks was no longer. And so it's just, understanding that any industry changes at any time. Things are always evolving and changing, and just adapting to the situation, and just knowing that your ability is going to take you further than I think a lot of times we all realize. But again, it was, just betting on myself and betting on our project and going out there and making it and knowing that it'll find a home at some point. And we were lucky enough to do so.
Well, and the production quality is absolutely stupendous. It's very good. And I remember, and we had talked prior to the start of the program of Salina, Kansas. I've met Mustafa twice, and both times in Salina, Kansas at the Masonic Lodge. And I remember a friend of mine and him and I talking about the program that you're all working on. Obviously he wasn't giving away any information, but we're like, are you going to find a place for it? Because this was really new back then, of the idea of what we just talked about. And he's just like, yeah, we're looking at different networks and stuff, but we just don't really want to land on Travel Channel. And I just thought to myself, my small mind, because sometimes you just have a small mind over things. It takes people with really talent to think outside the box. And I'm like, well, then where would you go? What would you do? Luckily, I'm not part of your team, because your show would never be anywhere. Quite frankly, I think that's the moral of that story. But it's really cool to see that you've been able to do that. And one thing that I think people don't really understand, and we had Michael J. Warden on last night talking about paranormal shows as well, that when you are through a place like Travel Channel, when they're the ones that are commissioning you and you're doing stuff, you are pretty much at their bidding for the most part, unless you're probably like a Ghost Adventures or something like that, where they say that they dictate a lot of what they want to see out of something. And I presumably, especially the reason why you wanted to do your own thing is because you would have so much more control over your own product.
Oh, absolutely. You know, our vision of what we would like to do and the vision of networks, and not all networks, but there's definitely a formula that's been in place for quite some time in the genre that, you know, and again, I'm not saying this negatively, but you could really look at the past 15 years of paranormal TV and really just change the name and dress it up with a different title. It was kind of the same show. You know, different faces. You've seen the same faces for basically this entire duration. But to us, it was really about wanting to do it our way, and really wanting to make a show that realistically paints paranormal investigation in the light of paranormal investigators, right? And in showing the process and understanding that there's entertainment value in the process, right? There's entertainment value in the history. There's entertainment value in the people associated with these locations, and there's entertainment value associated with sometimes not finding anything. it's all fun. So
it is all fun, and that's really important. Do you want to take a call? Do you want to see what I have? We have Tim on the line. Tim, how are you doing tonight?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good, good.
I was just watching the chat, and I want to give you a quick call and see out here what I was doing, and let Brandon know that we're all proud of him and the work he's doing out there in the paranormal field, him and the crew. It's very enlightening to see a different kind of show out there in the paranormal field that's bringing new techniques and all the ideals and the things that they're using to get their data. I mean, it's really refreshing. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before. It's not always jump scares and, you know, this and that you're normally used to seeing on the television. But anyway, I just want to say hi, tell Brandon much love and respect to him, and Mustafa and everybody else. Keep up the good work, bub. We're rooting for you. You're doing great things, and we hope to see more of it.
And Tim, can I ask you a question? What is there something that's specific that really to you sets Haunted Discoveries apart from other shows that just makes you just like, God, this is so good?
It's their techniques. It's their passion that they put into the show. Like you were discussing, how they do their research and how much they show so much respect for the locations that they're at. They don't go in there acting all goofy and silly and, like I said, getting scared and acting all freaked out. I mean, they're really in tune with what they're doing. They got a great group of people that are working together to try to bring some evidence of the afterlife, and then the way they go about it is just like nothing I've ever seen before.
No.
And it's genuine. It's something that's genuine that they're putting out there on TV for us in the paranormal field to enjoy and appreciate, and you can't help but to respect what they're doing.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. I really appreciate the call, Tim. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim.
No problem.
So Brandon, you're hearing that, you're seeing the comments. I mean, just in general, what are you thinking right now in terms of, I mean, all the work, the years of getting to this point? How are you feeling?
You know, I'm just happy that I hope people feel represented as investigators, right? I mean, that's a big thing for us too, is showing what we truly do. And it's a great feeling to know that people are appreciating it and enjoying it, because we try our best to represent the field as a whole in a positive light, and represent the field as something that can be taken seriously, something that can be taken to the next level. So hearing this is it's phenomenal, and it fills my heart with joy for sure. This is great.
Now, I don't know if we don't have a ton of time. We have about a minute left, but can you, Damien, is an interesting question. Can you sell yourself in 60 seconds or whatever, and how your show will encourage the kids of tomorrow next generation of investigators? How would your show encourage them?
I would always say, I hope that the show encourages them to always seek the truth and to always find the facts no matter what, and to always understand that the truth is always around the corner, and that if you dig deep enough, you'll find it. And I hope they hold on to it, and I hope that they represent the truth and the facts as they actually are.
I was thinking when that question came up about the idea of what would happen if someday there's a TV show on years from now, and they're like, oh, where do you base this off? And they're like, this is based on what I saw on Haunted Discoveries. Wouldn't that be something, huh?
It would be phenomenal. That'd be great.
Once again, Haunted Discoveries is on Haunt TV. You can find Haunt TV anywhere, any of your platforms. You just got to find it, add it. Like I need to add it to my Roku, but you don't have to pay for it. And also go to haunteddiscoveries.com, right? And you can find some episodes there as well, right?
Yeah, there's actually the first 5 episodes from season 1 are there now, and we release them as Haunt TV puts them out. So 5 episodes there now. You could just go right to Haunted Discoveries, go to the episodes page, and you can watch them all right there.
Go there now, people. What are you waiting for? Well, actually, wait till we're done with this show, then go there and do what you need to do. Well, this was years in the making, Brandon. I hope that you enjoy this. I love this. I really appreciate the time that you've given to me tonight.
Well, it's been great. Greg, thank you so much for having me, man. This has been awesome.
And hopefully, if there's something that you want to come back for, you're welcome here anytime.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Brandon Alvis, thank you very much. We'll be back tomorrow. Everyone, have a good night.
It's Brad Friedman, host of the Bradcast, weeknights at 7 on